Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Fast Leadership Podcast with Arnaud and Gordon, where we look to take the rocket science out of leadership and make it accessible to everybody.
I received a gift from my new intern. She gave me a book that is called 20 Habits of Highly Unsuccessful and Ineffective Leaders. What your team hates about you, but will never say to your face until now. Do you know about that book, Gordon?
Yeah, I might be aware of it. And your intern gave you that.
For the
Did,
sake of
did
the
they
story,
did they
yeah.
tick did they tick off any habits that you need working on?
Okay, for you people listening to us, Gordon actually just edited a new book. He wrote it, and the book is now out. So congratulations, Gordon, on that book. I believe this is your first, isn't it?
No, no, no.
No, not at all.
This is my fourth book.
Fourth. All right.
Yeah, this is my fourth book, and
By far the best, I believe.
and for those people thinking, I bet he used ChatGPT to write that. I actually wrote the first draft of this back in 2019, and
Okay. So way before ChatGPT was out.
well before ChatGPT. Although my initials are GPT, so GPT was involved. But I wrote an article in Inc. magazine that got picked up by Business Insider, and it was 20 habits of highly unsuccessful and ineffective leaders, and it
Right.
went viral. It got 500,000 views, and people were writing to me saying, would you send this article to my boss? And other people were, would you, my boss has got 19 out of 20, does he get an award? And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to expand that into a book, extend a little bit about each of the habits, and then write about what you can do to avoid them. And I thought, I approached some publishers, and every single publisher said it's negative, it won't sell, there'll be no interest. And I said, but 500,000 people have
Yeah.
read the article. It's been
That's already
translated
an
into
interest.
a
Yeah.
dozen different languages, and they said, sorry, not interested. Negative books don't sell. So even though I'd written it in 2019, I kind of just shelved it, and then I just thought, okay, I'm going to produce it anyway. Whether what do publishers know? The fact that they didn't like it, 500,000 did. So I self-published it on BookBaby and released it last week before last, I think, and it'll be the physical books will be available on Amazon August 19th.
All right.
So yeah, it's one of those things where I believe it's of value. 500,000 people read it. It's the one article where I received more feedback than any. So clearly there's a market for it, and it's a book for two audiences. One, it's a book for managers who know they're toxic but want to improve.
Uh-huh.
They're not going to buy any. And the other market is for people who work for toxic bosses, for them to buy a copy, give their boss a score, and then just leave it on his desk.
Right.
Gift wrap it as here's some things you need, an
Some kind of anonymous gift.
gift. Yes, absolutely.
Well, anyway, the topic is not about shaming bad leaders, right? You're
No.
not in that position at all. And I know, well, we've talked a lot about leadership, and we're very positive people and solution-oriented people. So we don't want to put the blame on anyone. The goal of your book is out of those 20
Yeah.
toxic habits, what can you do to change them, right?
Well, any one of them can create disconnection, and I do say in the intro to the book that I think all but about two of these habits I've exhibited them at some point myself. So
Okay.
I'm not saying I never did any of these. I've done some of them, and I've done them probably frequently, but they are gonna stop you from being successful in the long term, and we need to look at eradicating them. And one of them that I think it's a toxic habit that people don't even notice, and that is when the leader thinks that they're the most intelligent person in the room. And I have done that. But when you do that, you shut down other people, and you don't take their input, or you want to show them how smart you are,
Right.
and it's not a constructive habit. And as I say, once people stop to contribute, they've disconnected, and there's nobody that's as smart as all of us. And one of the things as a boss we need to learn is that whilst we might know a lot, we don't know everything. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to be in a different room
That is so
for
true.
your
Yeah.
own growth. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of things like that probably things that people do that they don't think are that bad, but actually it can be negative and create a bad connection and environment.
You've said the word 3 times now, so I will go ahead and think that it is a key word from your book. It's connection or deconnection or lack of connection.
Yeah.
Is it a focus on your book?
Well, no,
I mean, is it something that's so important as leaders to keep alive and working that connection?
well, leadership is the highly engaged teams, in my experience, deliver double the benefits
Hmm.
of just engaged teams, and engaged teams deliver 21% more growth and profitability than disengaged teams. So engagement is crucial to results, and any of these habits can either weaken or destroy engagement. I mean, things like blame. Bosses who want to blame people, that kills engagement and commitment
Right.
right out of the gate. So these are, I would say, they're crucial for good leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and you don't need to have all 20 to be unsuccessful. You can just have one of them, and
Right.
that can be undermining.
Okay, so if your boss calls even a 1 out of 20, still a good gift then.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just because they're not exhibiting all 20 with you, or any of the 20 with you, it doesn't mean they don't do that with other people. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but it's one of those things where I tried to make the book accessible by making it fun and a little bit non-threatening, but
Yeah,
you know self-awareness is an absolutely valuable tool for us as leaders. And
right.
this book, even if you think you're a great leader, just bite yourself and just go through and just double check you're not displaying some of those habits.
Well, I want to ask you about you told a little bit about the markets and the people who will read the book, and
Yeah.
you're a very experienced leader.
Uh-huh.
I myself am more novice leader. I've been leading teams for 5, 8 years now, and I'm learning a lot. And our podcast actually is teaching me a lot that I'm applying on my everyday work routines.
Yeah.
As a young leader, maybe I don't have habits already that
Yeah.
are too toxic or too bad. So I guess my question is, should a young leader or a future leader already read the book, not to get those bad habits?
Well, yeah, absolutely. One of the things I talk about is that we can go on training and we can learn a lot, but you can actually learn a lot from bad leaders and not copying what they do. So it's a synthesis of things I've seen and done that can turn people off, and it's good to understand them. And as I say, some of them you might not see as um, a bad habit immediately. It's like one of the ones, number 2 in the book, is react, don't respond. And that's about just, when people tell you something, take that time to think about it and then give a constructive response rather than just be led by your emotions and react.
And people, if you have an argument with your spouse, that's also a good
Yeah,
advice.
yeah,
Don't react.
yeah.
Take your time, breathe. It's not a personal attack. You can take your time and respond.
I can honestly say that no engagement or interaction with my wife where I've said, "You did what?" has ever ended as well as I wanted it to. So yeah, it's about, you know, a little bit about being a little bit more emotionally intelligent and having that self control to respond rather than react to things. So yeah, it's good to it's good to be aware of some of the pitfalls that you can fall into.
So you've identified 20 pitfalls.
Yeah.
Were there lesser important pitfalls that you also identified that you didn't put in the book, but you could share with us today?
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, I stopped at 20 because I thought 20.
Yeah.
Stephen Covey wrote about 7 good habits. I thought 20 bad habits is enough, but for sure there's more than that. I mean, you know, things like being sexist, racist, I didn't include those because I think some of those are just
Obvious?
cultural behaviours that are unacceptable. But you know, things like some of the things I've seen that people do that, you know, they just need to be aware of the implication. I mean, I don't know if you've ever worked with somebody, you know, people who, it's like I mentioned earlier, the boss thinks they're the smartest in the room, or they know everything, but also bosses who want to be the smartest in the room. So they're reluctant to hire anybody smarter than them. And I've seen lots of people do that because they feel threatened that if somebody's smarter than them, then, you know, they're going to be a threat. But, you know, if you're running a project, let's say it's a networking project, and you're not prepared to hire the best network engineer, you're limiting the quality of the work that could be done. And as the boss, that's not your job. It's not your job. So not only do you not need to be the smartest, you don't need to do that. And if you only hire people below you, you're not a leader, you're now a limitation. And it's, you know, talking about trying to explain to people why having people that are smarter than you in different areas is a good thing and not really a threat or a liability for you.
I think it's an idea that I fully embrace, and I will tell you that there's a very limited set of things that I like most than being the dumbest in the room, because then I can learn. And as I'm ever curious about things, I really like to be surrounded by people who can, you know, manage my ways, my ways of thinking or pushing me forward. And as a leader, you can think yourself as a leader of your own body. And if you go to a doctor, you go to a person who's smarter than you in terms of your body, right? You don't want to be smarter than your doctor. So if you go to any kind of expert, when I hire a plumber or I hire, well, anyone, someone to, you know, work on my car or work on any things that I'm done with, I'm really happy to see that the person is way smarter than me.
We should be looking to hire experts. And coming back to your question, is this a book that new leaders should read? Absolutely. Because that is definitely the kind of mistake that a brand new leader can make. Somebody who's first time in a job, doesn't feel comfortable, so tries to keep the threat level low by not having highly skilled people in the team, and it's it's not good.
But to me, it's a matter of shifting the focus from being the smartest in the room to being the best leader in the room.
Yeah,
it could be, and you should be willing to train and to improve yourself to be the best leader in the room, but let people work, because if you hire experts, let them do their things.
Yeah. And it doesn't really matter if, so for me, we were talking about network engineers. I'm definitely going to hire network engineers that are better than me. But I wouldn't be too bothered about hiring a leader who was better than me to lead part of the teams, because I'm comfortable about what I need to do. And you just have to have that confidence in your own capability.
Yeah,
Understand what your role. It's like football. You're building a team. You're the manager of the team. You wouldn't pick players who weren't where you were better than the goalkeeper, the defenders, the midfield, and the attackers, because that's not your job. You'd want to acquire the absolute best resources available, and that's what we should do as leaders, and understand our role is not to do the work, therefore not to be the best. It's to
right.
get the best team possible if we can, or get the best out of the team.
That's easy said, but yeah, it takes some kind of self-confidence.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe so. It's a work in progress for a lot of leaders, but to get to identify that issue in your habits
yeah,
is the first step. Second step is to get your book,
yeah.
Gordon, and then first step is to apply the many advices in it.
Yeah. Another habit that I talk about is that a lot of leaders, and either especially first time leaders, but also a lot of other leaders, and that is to focus on instant success. And
Uh-huh.
when you look at a lot of roles, I think the life expectancy of a CEO is 3 years. So it's almost forcing you to look for instant success, quick wins. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they've got to be aligned with your long-term strategy. If it's just a collection of quick wins that don't really move the organization forward, in a year, 2 years, you're going to be out of a job. So you need to be looking at, what's the what's that medium to long term plan, and then be looking for quick wins that align with that. Any success that doesn't align with the long term vision is potentially a deviation from where you need to be going, and actually a mistake to make. So I talk about a lot of these things. They're not just personal habits. It's just some of the things that I see leaders do that prevent them from being successful.
Yeah,
Another
and
one
their
is
team.
another one is thinking praises for wimps. I see a lot of leaders who don't give positive feedback, and positive feedback is the fuel that fires people forward. Give
Yeah.
more praise, not less praise. And yeah,
Why is that, do you think? Why would people not give praise to a well done job?
so I think there are a couple of reasons. I think sometimes it can be a bit cultural. When I lived in Germany, their view was you only give praise at the end.
Okay.
And also as well, I've seen it where people don't receive praise themselves. So if I don't get it, why should I give you it? And praise is reciprocal. If you give praise, people will come back. It's like if I said to you, hey, that's a great shirt, you're looking really sharp today, you would respond back and say, you're not looking too bad yourself, nice tan or something. So we've just got to be the ones that initiate, be the chief recognition officer. And I've been doing a lot of work lately on. I'm thinking about my next book, or one of my next books, and I'm thinking of, I'm not sure I'm going to call it, but it's going to become something like the dopamine engine that
Right.
drives to success, because we all want that dopamine, those quick hits. And what we need to do is we need to be giving people, positive feedback and recognition on every step of the journey, from the first step. And a lot of people focus on quick wins. Obviously, as I said before, they need to be aligned with the long-term vision. But they'll generate some quick wins to get that dopamine going, and then they'll wait until the big success at the end to give the last lot. But you need to be building in. It's like I'm training for a marathon at the moment, so you want to be giving, you want to be getting a dopamine hit from your first 5K, and then your
Yeah,
first
sure.
10k, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So you're getting, you raise the level at which you get that dopamine hit, but it's about creating that path, and it
Yeah.
needs to be dopamine laden. So we need
Just
to,
just to clarify for everybody, dopamine is the chemical from the brain that gives you a sense of happiness and
yeah,
also motivation. This is what motivates you to go back running after the first run was a success. And then if you put on some efforts, your body will release the dopamine. So if you put on some physical efforts or intellectual efforts, and you reward yourself with a self-conscious thoughts about what you did and what you achieved, then your body will release the dopamine. So
correct.
this is also how social networks get us hooked. This is why we love good food and good wine
Yeah,
and sex for that matter.
yeah, yeah,
This is all about dopamine. So this is the chemical that's one of the most powerful drivers in our world, and to use it as you said, with positive feedbacks,
yeah.
is a smart way to hack your brain to do better and to be happy doing so.
Correct. And as leaders, we need to be dopamine engineers. I mean, yeah, as I say, I've been doing quite a bit of research on it. And do you know why people pay and become addicted to Candy Crush?
Yeah,
Because they keep getting the little awards. Oh, you've got this, you're at this level. It's the same with computer games that you see people playing for 24 hours straight. You're chasing the levels. It's and a lot of people within leadership and work, they've talked about gamification. But actually, it's not gamification, it's dopaminification. Is
exactly.
actually
Yeah,
what we should be trying to do. So
yeah,
yeah, quick wins, they need to be in line with the goal, but then they need to be followed up with repeatable wins. And praise is not for wimps, it's for winners. And we give it for effort, and we keep giving it. Obviously, you raise the bar. And another thing that I came up with is it's called my MSI. It's my minimum significant improvement. So what's the
okay.
minimum significant improvement I need in order to get a dopamine hit? So for me, when I started running, I wasn't running 5K at the start of training. So to get to 5K, that was a dopamine hit. And then 6K doesn't give me it, but 10K will give me another dopamine hit. And then running 5K in under 35 minutes, so we need to engineer
Yeah,
these, and it's almost like we need to be creating this path of what the minimum success increment is, so that we don't want to raise the bar. This great visual that I saw, it's like if you look at two ladders that go up 100 feet, if the bars are this far apart, people will climb it. If the bars are this far apart, people will
yeah,
struggle. So we've got to have these like small bar. You can increase the distance over time, but it's about giving people an opportunity to be successful, but something that's meaningful. So a minimum, the MSI, and then praise them for that, and then what's the next one, and what's the next one, and the next one, and people will follow it like a puppy following biscuit treats to its
that's the
bone.
dopamine path. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
the dopamine path, but also as well with the MSI. I also call this the belief ladder. So everything you've got to believe that you can get to that first increment. And then when you get there and you get that dopamine, you look at that next step. So it's like, once I've run 5K, I think, well, I can run 7, I can run 10, and then I can run 15, I can run 20. So you're creating a belief ladder with dopamine
Right.
feedback built in, and it becomes self-sustaining. And
Yeah,
if you leave recognition until if somebody says to you, I think I'm going to run a marathon for the first time ever, and you say, okay, I'll sit at the finish line ready to cheer you. you'll never see them. You've got to
Sure.
be encourage them on the entire journey.
Small steps. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they work. They do
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, minimum significant increment. What's the, if you're going to lose weight, if I go on a diet, losing half a kilo, but a kilo, I feel good about a kilo. So that's,
Yeah.
and if you've got 20 kilos to lose, don't set it at 5. Set that end of week 1 kilo, and then just that's a significant increment. So within your work, what are the significant increments? Set that, and then get people moving on that dopamine trail to success.
I think the human body is just amazing because we got the reward and the motivation built into our own brain.
Correct.
Our brain can make us motivated, but it is an error in my experience to think that motivation is the precursor of the action. So if you want to do something like running a marathon, going to the gym, whatever, and I'm not talking about um, stuff that you usually do, but if you want to start something new, if you want to lose weight or whatever, just act on it, get your dopamine shot, and then you'll get the motivation to do it again if you recognize the small steps that you have to follow.
Yeah. So
But
I
you get to act first.
so I have a model that I look at, and it's called AIM. And the first part is aspiration. So
Uh-huh.
if you wanna get fit, if you want to do that, you have the aspiration for it.
Right.
If it's to be the best basketball player in the world, yeah, doesn't interest me. You're not going to do it. So you have to have that aspiration. And then the first thing is inspiration. And that comes from the belief that you're going to be successful. Because if you believe you'll be successful, you'll take the action. So this is where, I'm going to go on a diet. I want to lose a kilo in a week. Anybody who needs to go on a diet can lose 1 kilo in a week. If you can't lose a kilo in a week, if it's physically impossible, then you probably don't need to go on a diet. You're at the right level. But anybody who's overweight can lose. So, then when you believe it and you've got an approach to do it, that inspiration will get you started. And then when you complete it, that's when the motivation kicks in. So you get a little bit of a dopamine hit from the inspiration. I believe I can do this. And then when they achieve it, you give them the recognition, which is the motivation feedback.
Yeah.
And it's just moving them forward. And if you've got minimum significant improvements that they look at it, and it's like, as I said, when I started doing the marathon, when I trained for my first ever marathon, I was running for 15 minutes a day and a 5-minute increase every day. I looked at it and I thought, I can't run for an hour, but I know I can run for 15 minutes, and if I run for 15, I'll run for 20. If I run for 20, I'll run for 25. And now that's predictive dopamine. So I know I can do 15, so I'm going to get my dopamine hit for that. But then I'm looking at 20 minutes thinking, I can definitely do that. So I get predictive dopamine hit, and then I get the dopamine hit from doing it. And if we can build those ladders, it becomes self-fulfilling.
And if the people listening to us or watching us don't believe in what we're saying, I'm sure you have been scrolling on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, for an hour and thinking, "Oh, what just happened to my to the last hour?" The
Yeah.
time went really high. Why is that? It's because when you're scrolling, every new post is a little shot of dopamine in your brain that keeps you kind of entertained or willing to keep scrolling. That's how it works.
Every
So
video,
it's super powerful.
every
And if
video
you
that you
don't,
watch, when you're watching those videos, cats jumping, dogs
right,
running, and you see people just going over, and that's just you're just getting the dopamine.
exactly.
So we need
So
to engineer it into our work.
exactly the same way you can use it to lose an hour scrolling on social networks, you can use it to achieve great goals,
Yeah.
such as buying a new book, reading a new book this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you read it, it's only 20 habits. And I do talk about going through it. And if you're going to fix them, fix one a week. Don't try and fix them all in one go. You don't have to. Just identify where you've got a problem and then work on it. So yeah,
And it's a light, fun read, so you won't get bored, you
yeah.
won't get asleep.
It's a thin
It's
book.
efficient, as Gordon always writes, efficiently and with funny quotes and personal experiences as well. So it's a great book to read, and I would recommend it 5 stars easily.
Thank you.
Yeah. Talking about recommendation, please do not forget people to recommend our fast leadership show on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening to it. It really helps us. Please do comment also if you liked it or if you didn't like it, why not?
Yeah, keep
But
the
it really
negative
helps the
dropping.
algorithm pushing forward our show and getting access to more and more leaders and teaching and for them learning to be a better leader. So
Yeah,
making the world a better place one leader at a time.
yeah. So as you said, like it and share it because that's then a dopamine hit for us. So that's your
It is
opportunity
definitely.
to share some dopamine.
It will push us forward for sure.
Absolutely. All right.
All
So
right,
thank
thank you,
you.
Gordon.
Bye.